Hi there everyone, Rob here with today's update, and well, we are watching Cyclone Sandra out here, now a Category 2 storm on the Bureau of Meteorology scale, really slowly organizing here, and it really is still remaining rather rugged, but it has a lot of potential to cause some damage, specifically out here towards New Caledonia, where we are going to concentrate on here, because it does look like the worst of the effects of this storm is going to adhere over towards Queensland, not so much as of today here, because really just due to the steering flow around this system and the ridge off towards the northeast, the trough towards the south, looks like it's going to push farther and farther towards the south. But you can see that weak eye here. Actually, if we take a look at MMIC imagery, you can see that rugged nature of the storm in the northwestern portion, but wrapping around it is a very weak eye. And really the eye wall still attempting to set up here, so not a defined one, and many meteorologists would probably disagree that it is an eye, but a very defined center of circulation to say the least. And as we go through the next several days in the Monday and Tuesday, expect that eye to continue to deepen and become more clear, because the storm is expected to intensify here. First up to a Category 3, then a 4 by Sunday evening, and eventually into Monday here as it starts to push off there towards the south and gradually picking up speed. I mean, right now it's only moving at about 13 kilometers per hour according to the Bureau here. Winds at 110, gusting up to 155. That does make it that Category 2 storm. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. What are going to be the impacts, at least from our thoughts here at Western Pacific Weather? Like I said, the Coral Sea here as far as the reef and along the Queensland coast, really the waves are going to be the major problem here for you. And this is showing you some of the significant wave heights coming out of this storm here, pushing off there towards the Queensland coast. You could be seeing several meters high. Those areas in the yellows definitely not very welcoming for any boats out here, and then eventually pushing down here towards the south. But really specifically around Vanuatu and New Caledonia over the next several days, this is where you're really going to be seeing these very rough waves near the coastlines, especially in the northern and western peripheries of the island, as the storm eventually pushes down here towards the south. Now this is on Sunday, eventually going into Monday, continuing to intensify. We can see that pressure getting lower and lower here, and then pushing farther there towards the south. Now on Sunday night into Monday, actually when this storm really reaches its max intensity, which is right about here, we're using the European model. I really like using this model because it does show some of these nitty-gritty details, and this is what I'm talking about here. There's going to be a saving grace if it does stay towards the west of New Caledonia, which at this time it does look like it very well could, but if that ridge off here towards the east, like I said, weakens, it very well could push a little bit farther here towards the east and hit the island directly. But according to this track, if it goes to the left, it looks like some dry air is going to be wrapping around it, easing off on some of these winds and easing off on the precipitation. This is just the MSL, or the precipitation and the pressure, but if we take a look at the relative humidity here, you can actually see these areas in the peak wrapping into it, and that would definitely help out the island here, because for several reasons, it's going to ease off on the precipitation. You're not going to be seeing these very dark areas of blue, more of these lighter areas, and that means less rainfall, but also weakening of the storm. Dry air entrainment, tropical systems just do not like that at all. And if we go back to the MSL here, you can actually see a significant weakening of the storm, all the bulk of the convection there towards the... But now, all of this, though, is based on the track of the storm pushing off here towards the south and the east like this. If it does eventually push here towards the east farther because of this high pressure ridge there, well, that would definitely be a big game changer, obviously, and the bulk of the rain showers would push across New Caledonia here. But really at this time, if we pull back the picture here, at least my thoughts is a storm pushing off there towards the south, anywhere basically around New Caledonia, but the exact track, my thoughts, more like this, the bulk of the precipitation towards the left, but you're still going to be seeing some very high waves, high winds, definitely, possibly damaging along the northern periphery of the island here, even a slight storm surge there as well, as those winds continue to push onshore from the east, and even on the east coast, definitely going to see this rough weather if it does take this track off there towards the west. But anybody out here towards the east, and if it goes here towards the west, obviously that would be the best scenario ever. I highly doubt it lingering off there towards the Australian coastline. So really the highest and main threat is going to be out here for New Caledonia. And even Nomea, if it does push off here close enough to the coastline and possibly bring some gusty winds to you. But the good news, if it does go to the west, the storm surge on the west coast of the island will obviously be a little minimal as the winds will be blowing offshore. And this is also the thoughts from the unofficial agency, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center here, just showing their track on the storm system, actually expecting it to pass by Noumea on the 13th during the early morning hours, about 137 nautical miles towards the west. But if you can see here, also downgrading rapidly once it gets past the island down to a tropical storm because of all that dry air entrainment and an increase in vertical wind shear. But for the time being, it will be intensifying because all the ingredients, sea surface temperatures, low vertical wind shear, high moisture level, will be available and able to fuel in on this system. But that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at Western Pacific Weather. As always, though, if you are anywhere out here, please check with the Bureau of Meteorology. Also, Meteo France for you here into New Caledonia, the official agencies. I'm just here to interpret and give you my thoughts. So thanks for watching, though, and stay safe out there, everyone.